Alright, ready?
Kayfabe Gimmicks! You know where to find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Fiction Entertainment, brother. YouTube. Fiction Entertainment, brother. YouTube.
Fucking #1 Kayfabe Gimmicks podcast ever. So.
How are you looking for?
Put words in the wrong place.
Are you recording all this, dude? The best wrestling podcast that's always been.
What you gonna do, brother, when the beast starts talking about wrestling and drinking whiskey and it's all crazy up in here?
Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is Muskogee, Oklahoma on a payday Saturday night. Nothing but a fist fight at the beer joint, and this is Kayfabe Gimmicks, and I'm sNooVa.
And I'm Ruff Lee. And
this is what we are gonna do. Oh shit, you got something to say? Let's hear it.
I can't be the advocate for women's wrestling tonight because in tonight's program there was not a women's match.
Oh. There really wasn't.
There wasn't one.
That's kind of weird.
I double checked and I triple checked, but nowhere on the pay-per-view that we are going to discuss. No, we are not a recap show. Tonight we are
recapping even older things.
We're talking something that is 14 years old, people.
It's older than some of you cool babies who are watching us this week.
We're heading into SummerSlam, but instead tonight we're talking about SummerSlam 2003.
Wait, no. Are we?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
SummerSlam 2003 is tonight's event.
I watched 2005.
No, you told me...
Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan in the main event.
No, you told me 2003.
Shawn Michaels doesn't want to fight Hulk Hogan, and he doesn't want to lose to him, but he's going to fight him anyways,
Hell
brother.
no, we are talking 2003.
And he oversold for 25 minutes. There's blood everywhere. Hulk Hogan's a fucking ragdoll. It's almost amazing. You know, the only time I think that is better than it, honestly, ECW 2006, right after Rob Van Dam gets stripped of the title thanks to Paul Heyman and some drug usage, caught while driving with.
My.
Big Show becomes the champion, goes over to Raw and invites Ric Flair to do an Extreme Rules match for the first time ever in his life. Actually, I just found out this is on the network, guys. I have always been a fan of this match. I think you should watch it. It's literally 11 years old, and this is actually what I want to talk about tonight because, oh my god, I don't want to lose Ric Flair.
No, nobody wants to lose Ric Flair.
And, I mean, okay, so this was 11 years ago this match happened, right? And the interesting thing to me about that is if you look up Ric Flair is, what, 68, actually.
Oh, wow.
Still, that's a 57-year-old man taking thumbtacks for the first time ever in his life.
But it's far from the first time he's bled.
Flair was a god. No, I mean, obviously. The man's the master of taking a razor blade to his face.
But you don't start with thumbtacks when you're almost, 6 decades old. That's for sure.
Seriously. I mean, I'm not really a big outspoken Charlotte Flair fan. But I wish the best of luck to her father. I hope he gets better. I hope we have many more years of bitches riding Space Mountain. I love Ric Flair, and I think I will be very sad if something happens to Rick.
Absolutely.
But you are correct. We're going to be talking about SummerSlam 2003 tonight, aka 2 miles of chain with some epidermis on it, because this is going to be the second Elimination Chamber match.
10 tons of steel.
Blood will flow.
Boy, did it.
But that's how it ends and not how it begins.
Right. So
It actually began... Well, we'll go for it.
I'll tell you something about how it actually begins. Lillian Garcia sang the national anthem the way that she does at all of the live events that she is a ring announcer for. And I was reminded again about, well, she has her own recording career, but that's neither here nor there. She does a great version of it without any accompaniment, and I wish that it was a regular part of the pay-per-views if they're not going to do it for the regular shows.
I do dig Lillian Garcia on that. I will give you that. She is one of the best I've ever heard singing it.
So it's like, why aren't they implementing the fact that they've got someone who's a stellar voice who can really do it justice at all of the pay-per-views?
Well, I mean, in that case, I believe Braun Strowman should sing the national anthem.
Braun Strowman
says he has the voice of a lark in an interview this week.
Uh-huh.
And he loves to sing.
Uh-huh.
And they hate riding with him because he knows pretty much every song that comes on the radio. Go look it up. There are videos of Braun Strowman singing.
I'm afraid to.
I'm just throwing this out there.
I mean,
I'm throwing it out there, man.
I mean, I might have nightmares if I wind up hearing him singing along with Jessie J or something like that, so...
It might actually be something that kills your entire thought of Braun Strowman the monster.
Yeah, that's one way to kill the gimmick, for sure. Okay. Let's talk about A-Train.
What, you want to go straight into A-Train and skip the entire first match of the pay-per-view?
Oh.
I think that's the greatest idea ever, because the only thing that happens in the first match of the pay-per-view is Rob Conway debuts, and then he doesn't do anything until he finally goes to Ring of Honor, 10 years later almost?
Right. I mean, it was a Dudley match. It was a Dudley match for the U.S. belt.
It
was against.
It's entirely not worth talking about.
No, I'm just gonna say it quick. I mean, it's easy to tell who the baby faces were, because La Resistance was waving the French flags, and the Dudleys were waving Old Glory. That's all you need to know about that match.
Well, I mean, I do want to bring it up back, just in the simplistic fact of La Resistance actually brought out two great wrestlers, neither of which did jack shit in the WWE, being
they were
Robert
both great.
Conway and Rene Dupree.
Yeah, Rene Dupree.
No, Sylvain Grenier sucks.
Yes.
But Rene Dupree and Rob Conway are awesome.
Yeah.
After they left the WWE.
Yep.
That's all I want to say about that.
So, okay. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of it. Because Big Evil in his yard. I love the American Badass.
I post about this for you yesterday. Did you see it?
I vaguely remember.
I made a post because I think Taz calls it out. He calls it Big Evil's yard going into A-Train versus Taker. Is the whole big dog of the yard conversation really a discussion of American Badass returns more than anything else?
Maybe. I mean, I can hope with all my heart, because against popular opinion, against all these old school fans, I have always preferred the American Badass to the Dead Man Walking. I like Undertaker in the biker gimmick a hell of a lot more than I ever liked him as this dark, mysterious, undead creature.
I really love both of them. I will point out one interesting fact that I felt was the most interesting thing of the entire presentation. John Cena was there in the video package going into the match, and that surprised me. I just wasn't expecting to see John Cena in 03, I guess.
Well,
I was leaning more towards 04, 05, because that's where I know he started getting big and started doing things, and I was surprised. I was a little surprised to see John Cena in SummerSlam. Video packaging, even.
Yep.
I mean, he didn't make it onto the pay-per-view, and I feel like he was probably worth more than, at least La Resistance, even then.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I felt like it was a really strong match.
It was a great match. It makes you realize how big Matt Bloom is, A-Train is, when you see him.
Now,
He is three.
I feel like there was
He's
some
350
issues there. There's been some issues with how we have portrayed Matt Bloom over the years. And I'm not even saying the Tensai gimmick. I actually was a fan of the Tensai gimmick, but the Prince Albert thing, I wasn't really a fan of.
Right.
I do enjoy his movements in the ring. I enjoy how he wrestles. You can actually see even when he's wrestling as A-Train back then, which actually makes sense now that I think about it, because A-Train and John Cena were a thing at one point.
Now let's also talk about this about Matt Bloom. Matt Bloom is, if you guys have only seen him in other matches and have not seen this match, consider this. He is as tall as Undertaker and about twice as broad. Taker weighs in at 285. Matt Bloom weighs in at he's billed as 350. He's probably somewhere around 315 to 320, but even so, someone who's 7'1" and 320 pounds, and he's really mostly muscle. He's a really, really big dude. He is absolutely very, very agile. And when you see him in this match, it makes you appreciate, respect, and understand why he is the primary trainer.
Here's the thing, right, about Matt Bloom in general. I would love to go back, and I believe I talked about this in season 1 of Kayfabe Gimmicks. It was a serious thing for me, and it was the Lord Tensai character. The Lord Tensai character went on an undefeated streak for a good minute. He even beat John Cena. He beat CM Punk. And the thing about it all, the thing that would have made it perfect, was if he had a face turn. Right then was when he needed to have the face turn, because Sakamoto, his so-called follower, should have been the real Lord Tensai, and we should have been like, oh, we're kidding, this white guy was never Lord Tensai, he's actually Sakamoto's pawn.
Right.
And that
would have been
a
great feud. That would have been a great match.
It would have been a great way to turn him back away from the Lord Tensai gimmick, if you really have to do that. It'd be a great way to get Sakamoto over immediately as somebody amazing who actually could wrestle. He could wrestle. He was actually trained by Taka Michinoku. I mean, it's not like he just was some fucking nobody. He could wrestle.
Yeah.
And by having them do that storyline, they could have put so much heat onto Sakamoto, changed the whole fucking thing around. Tensai would have become the muscle to the Lord Sakamoto, or he could have been the real Sakamoto. And they could have reversed the billing. They could have reversed the billing completely. And it would have been really cool. It would have been an interesting angle, and I think people would have been interested in the angle. They would have been drawn into it.
Right.
But instead, we went downhill. We turned him into a comedy act. And honestly, I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad you're right. He deserves to be a trainer. He deserves that because he is a good wrestler and he knows what makes a good match.
When you are as big as The Undertaker and you can be as fluid as the Hardys, I mean, isn't that fair to say?
He's technically strong. He's very technically strong.
Technically strong, very agile. He moves with a quickness you would never expect out of someone 7 foot high.
I like Matt Bloom. I actually am a fan of some of his a lot of his matches. He's got some good matches in there. You can go watch his NJPW stuff if you want to see his great matches. I don't understand why we did what we did.
I tell you what, nobody in training and nobody who's being developed by WWE has any reason to doubt anything that Matt Bloom says. He's been strong. He has stayed off the injured list. He's been agile. He has done moves that would rival RVD. He, like I said, he's got the quickness, and if he can do it, and he's 7 foot, then nobody's got excuses around him. And from what I've seen from behind the scenes footage that the network has let leak out, he doesn't put up with it. And really, there's no excuse for it.
He's the trainer that they need, especially after Bill DeMott. Well, moving onwards, like I could talk about this for a long, long time. Like I could tell you that he deserves to have one final run, and I could tell you the exact same thing about William Regal, even though Regal's really up there in years by now. But it is what it is. These men are doing the right thing, and they are teaching a younger generation, and I love it. I love the story in this match, I will say. The whole Sable thing, the Stephanie McMahon thing, like, these are important angles, and you're really drawn into this product at this point. You feel the bad blood.
Yeah. I know that there's no such thing as too much praise, but Jim freaking Ross, little things that we miss, like, of course he makes a match exciting anytime he's behind the mic, but something that immediately hit me in the Taker and A-Train match was him calling moves. We have a real lack of that on the current product. But even something as simple as a lateral press caught my ear, and I'm like, I missed that.
That was Mauro Ranallo's specialty, and I just don't know what they were thinking. Moving on from A-Train and Undertaker, because I don't want to talk about that all night, obviously. Afterwards, we had a moment where Coach is interviewing the crowd, and he's asking people who they think are going to win the Elimination Chamber. And again, you have strong storytelling, and then you have this audience participation that's vastly missed by now. And I don't mean those stupid, text us your votes. Those things always felt kind of fake. Those things never felt like they went down the way that I would have wanted them to, or I felt like most people would have voted. But that was a neat little thing that I love it. I love it. It's something that the WWE needs to bring back if they really want to drive back up their fan base and their love. Like, you need to have strong stories, which is exactly what leads into our next match of Shane McMahon versus Eric Bischoff. And this is a strong storytelling match. You have a video package from hell because you got so much.
My God, the video package. I mean, we've got the video package went through so much, we have the issues of Kane on Shane McMahon, and then you have Austin as the GM, and then you have Kane on Bischoff, and then you have all these other angles that are going on. You had 5 or 6 strong elements building into one match.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. And then, you have this storytelling in this match, because part of the storytelling going into the match was, okay, Bischoff, you have to sign this contract to fight Shane McMahon immediately. And, but he doesn't actually have to fight Shane. He ends up fighting Kane. He ends up winning that, or he's supposed to fight Shane. Kane beats him, so then he has to fight Shane at SummerSlam. Whatever. It was cool. It was interesting. You didn't read the fine print. Those are fun little moments, little twists and turns that they're missing out on now. And I love how much we play up the fact that Eric Bischoff doesn't actually want to deal with Shane McMahon because he knows Shane O'Mac is dangerous. Shane O'Mac's crazy.
Hell yeah, he is.
And I love Bischoff's. I will always love Bischoff's entrance music. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I love about halfway through the match when Coach actually comes down and they shut off the mics on Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. And Coach is calling out the commentary.
Yeah.
It's a slobber knocker. He doesn't even call it a slobber knocker. He calls it a globber knocker.
Yeah.
Coach was fun.
Because
I feel like Coach had fun and Coach was fun, and I kind of miss Coach in some ways. I mean, he became cheesy.
Yeah. Although I love where his new role is because it's a great place to be and something that we've needed for a few years anyway.
I really do like that too. I don't feel like it was the strongest Shane match you'll ever see. I feel like it was a strong storytelling match though.
And that's what's more important anyway. That whole physically provoked thing where Austin couldn't touch Coach or Bischoff unless he was physically provoked.
I love it.
That was great storytelling.
Moving onwards, we get to see Evolution for a moment, which is great. I love Evolution. It's one of my favorite factions of all time. One of my favorite faction theme songs of all time.
Right.
Actually, that's one of those things that while watching this pay-per-view, fucking hell, I love almost everybody's entrance music. It's so fun. It's so nice. When Kane's music hits later on and it's actually Slow Chemical.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely, that's my thing, man. I miss when people had memorable theme songs.
It really set the tone.
Oh, well, so what happened next? What do you want to talk about next with this pay-per-view?
So in this next match, you've got Benoit, Tajiri, Rhino, and Guerrero in a fatal four-way. Now, I do what I can not to talk and discuss about what went down with Benoit, because I'd rather focus on the greatness that happened in his career, which is better than a lot of people who have had more spotlight.
I mean, I understand. I mean, you got to figure at this point in 4 more years, we would lose both of them, and they would both have World Heavyweight Championship runs before then.
Right.
Him and Eddie would both be gone within 4 years, and both of them would have accomplished so much.
It's crazy to think about. You're looking at how close both of these guys were to being gone. But Ross said it.
I kind of want to sidebar right there. I was talking about this last night because later on Chris Jericho is going to show up, and Chris Jericho is obviously one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, right?
Right.
And I put Jericho over Edge. I do. And what I mean by this and why I bring this up is because if Edge hadn't retired in 2011, Edge might go over Benoit. Edge might go over Chris Jericho. Edge might have been able to do a lot of things that would have changed a lot of how I feel about wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We never got Edge versus CM Punk.
Right.
We never got Edge versus Bray Wyatt.
Edge versus CM Punk sounds like a chance of epic promos.
There was definitely some stuff. Edge versus Daniel Bryan.
Right.
It never went down, man. Edge versus Cody Rhodes. Like, there were things that could have been amazing.
He could have made it to my top 3.
Could have been fucking fabulous.
Given a couple more years.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing, because he was at the highest point of his career. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, he was successful, but he was getting more and more successful. Moving away from shitty storylines, moving into more fun storylines. He would have had the moment to be in the Summer of Punk.
For sure.
Edge versus Triple H might have been a thing.
That would have been great, too. Yeah.
A real thing this time. I'm sorry to have interrupted with that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, oh my God. What the fuck could have happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you, because I've got the 3 DVD set for Edge after he retired, and, I realized that there was still plenty that he could have done.
Great things that he could have done. And I don't mean to take away from any single accomplishment the man made. He has some great stuff out there. But there could have been so much more. Stuff that really would have stuck out to me, because things like Edge versus Kane don't stick out to me.
Right.
Edge versus Dolph Ziggler doesn't stick out to me.
Right.
Edge and that weird-ass threesome where fucking Vicky was cheating on him with Big Show, I remember it, but I don't want to.
Right, he could have had much better storylines and much better angles to go through.
I don't want to. Maybe we'll talk about that again someday. But continuing on now. So obviously we're going to lose 2 of these guys in the next 4 years. All 4 of them are amazingly talented wrestlers, if you ask me. Rhino is fun to watch. Tajiri is technically sound. He's threatening in the ring. He's odd. He's kind of creepy. He's got a lot going for him as a character that I always loved. I really was hoping something interesting was going to happen with him when they re-signed him to the CWC.
Me too.
But he did get injured, and now he's just gone.
But, great storytelling happens when you've got great chemistry going on anyway, and you need people who are able to sell a bump just as well as they can dish one out. That's, critically important to making the match believable. And when you look at...
It's so important, and it's so important in this modern product, again, which is one of those things that we're going to be discussing a lot tonight, I think you'll find, is where the WWE is messing up now that they used to do so well. And our match after this is going to be a huge example of being able to take a bump and selling a bump, and why you still need to nowadays. I just want to throw that out there so you got something to look forward to, guys. I got a thing here.
It's for sure. And that goes to the point that I'm saying right here. You watch the 4 in the ring in this match, and Benoit is selling the bumps the best. And he's got shorter hair than everyone else, but he's making you buy the bumps he takes. Even from something like, it doesn't even have to be from a big move. If he takes a chop across the chest, he sells it better.
He sells it like Shawn Michaels against Hulk Hogan in 2005 SummerSlam. Which is what we're discussing tonight. No?
No, it's not.
Oh, I mean, but I understand where you're coming from. There is a fine line between overselling, no selling, and perfect selling.
Benoit's flawless here. Flawless selling. You watch it, and he's who I keep my eyes on. I watched all 4 of them because, I wanted to pay attention to the match. But Benoit's got my attention because selling the bumps as well as his own moves, like selling the bumps is just like, it seems lost with a lot of the current crop.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I do.
Anyway, that's the big thing to watch for it, because you're watching greatness between 4 people that we don't talk about nearly enough anyway.
I mean, I understand. And after that, it happened. Oh man, it's damn true because it went down. Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar for the World Heavyweight Champion. No, the WWE Championship?
Yeah.
I think it's the WWE Championship.
WWE Championship.
And this is continuing on exactly what you're talking about, because holy fuck, watching Brock Lesnar in 2003 is an entirely different animal. He sells.
It's a completely different thing than 2017.
He takes flawless bumps. Just like Benoit, he's not fucking no-selling bullshit. He doesn't oversell anything. He takes bumps, and you believe that Angle is a challenge for him.
Oh, and
probably because Angle was a real challenge for him.
Lesnar's tantrum. He's outside the ring and he's frustrated, and because after the initial thing of they both show that they're technically solid and neither one of them can get the better of the other, even then Lesnar was just used to just dishing it out, and then he hits against Angle, and that's his immovable object. So he's frustrated. He goes outside, and he goes into this tantrum where he kicks the stairs apart outside the ring, and then he throws them out of frustration. And this does not seem like a crybaby. You look at him as being completely frustratingly upset. It was a great spot from him.
It was a great spot. I love how during the course of this match, we talk a lot about how he fucked Zach Gowen up, before it in the thing, and then a lot of the match is really Angle going for that leg. Gonna fuck his leg up just like he fucked up Gowan's leg.
Right.
That was exciting. There are some great moments in this whole thing. One of my favorite moments is when Lesnar's going for an F5, and it somehow switches into an Angle DDT.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
It was a great moment.
The Angle DDT out of the F5 was beautiful. It was gorgeous. That's one of those counters that is absolutely stellar. It was like watching ballet. It was that clean.
It really is. There's some great moments. That whole ref bump that happens into Angle applying the ankle lock. Oh my god, man.
Yeah. Great sell. Great storytelling.
Great selling on both parts. It's a solid, strong match. They really are fighting each other.
Oh, and Angle overhead leg sleeper.
They called it a figure four figure four at one point.
Right.
A figure four sleeper. I've also seen it be called a guillotine choke. It was involving his legs though.
Right.
It was just brilliant. It's one of those moments that's really nice, and it's a flawless transition from that into another ankle lock.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about with just sheer great technical wrestling between both of them. And to think that, like, Lesnar and somebody else we're going to talk about soon, Goldberg's careers would both be over in, 8 months?
Yeah.
With one of the shittiest matches possible?
Very much so.
It's amazing. It's amazing to even try to think about this.
Right.
If you ask me. Again, it's great storytelling. You're interested, you're involved. The whole Vince McMahon stuff. McMahon coming in. McMahon saving Lesnar. McMahon fucking still not being able to get the match to Lesnar.
Oh, and the exclamation point afterwards, because
brilliant stuff.
Seeing Vince taking an angle slam onto an upright steel chair is great.
Oh yeah. So afterwards is Kane versus Rob Van Dam in a no disqualification match. I don't even know how the fuck this is a main event match on this pay-per-view, really. It kind of felt out of place, but Howard Finkel's announcing it made it worthwhile.
Yeah. I do, while we're on the business of talking about how we sell things, it made me realize that RVD does not take bumps in anything that looks pretty at all.
I mean,
I love RVD. His bumps always look. I love RVD, but his bumps always look like he was on the verge of like breaking a hip or snapping an ankle. It's like they're not fluid for someone who's a martial artist, and they always look like they could have all gone badly.
I think the shining moment of the match, RVD's on the ground, and basically Kane goes for a last ride, and as he's picking RVD up, RVD grabs the chair behind his head and comes up, swooping up, down with the chair, knocking Kane the fuck down. And, like, oh my god, I love that moment.
That was great.
That was one of the greatest moments. I mean, it's kind of a really weird storyline anyways. It did have that awesome moment leading into it where, during the package, you'll get to see, Kane literally douses RVD with gasoline and lights a match. Like, oh, I'm gonna set you on fire so you look like me.
Yeah.
It was this weird angle, though, of unmasking Kane. I don't know if it was ever a good idea in a lot of ways.
I don't think it was, but at least you still believed him as a monster by his actions at that time.
I mean, okay, so, like, look, I love Kane all the way through about 06, 07. I, even, like, when See No Evil came out and the May 19th stuff's going down.
Right.
It's fun. It's interesting. The May 19th stuff will always stick out of my head because at that point, Vince was against Shawn Michaels.
Right.
And he made Shawn wear a May 19th shirt to special guest referee a Kane match.
Yeah.
And Kane, he comes out there before Kane, and he kicks the shit out of whoever Kane's opponent is, rips the shirt off, and puts the shirt on the dude. And Kane just comes out and tears the shit out of him.
Right.
That's also when the whole Kane and Big Show was a huge tag team that did great things, then broke apart. I mean, Kane has some good stuff. But fast forward to like 08-09 when Kane's world champion, I hate talking Kane.
Yeah.
I don't hate funny Kane in yes, no, hell no, Daniel Bryan mode. But smart talking Kane kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
I fall asleep when Kane uses big words, and it's not because I don't understand them, it's just because I don't ever feel like that felt into his character.
Right.
And it was a weird transition. Suddenly he just became a IR good speaker.
Yeah.
It was one thing when, you know, the Kaneaholics promo. It's a different thing when he's like, the world will be devoured by the souls of the unholy. Like,
No.
okay, Kane.
Right.
You're not the Undertaker. Please shut up.
Right.
Please.
We don't need you to be esoteric.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to seem hypocritical about it because I like it from other people, but when it comes to Kane, you're the big scary red monster. Fire and brimstone and shit.
Right. Kane is not the one to talk about miscreants.
Exactly. I don't care to hear Kane talking. It's just retarded to me. I don't know. It's one thing in humor. In humor mode, it's funny and it works and there's some great moments. I'll say that.
There we go.
Moving on, we have the main event of the night.
10 tons of unforgiving steel.
As I started out the podcast earlier saying, Jim Ross calls out halfway through the match, 2 miles of chain with some epidermis on it.
Yeah.
Because literally it's not a 10-mile structure or 10-ton structure. It probably isn't.
No.
I don't believe that at all. I might believe 2 miles of chain on it. It's probably closer to a mile.
Yeah.
It might be 2 miles. You know, that whole bottom was chain too.
Yeah.
But I always loved the Elimination Chamber. It's a threatening looking structure.
Like, you know that someone's going to get hurt in there.
And oh my god, SummerSlam 2003 shows you they're going to get hurt, proves you they're going to get hurt, and it's epic.
Now,
and again, here we go. This is where we get Jericho, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. The weirdest choice to me is Kevin Nash in this match.
he's the stray they threw in at the last minute, it feels like.
He's definitely a stray in a lot of ways here, because, I mean, this is 2003. We have strong people around here. We have people who are well worthwhile. You could have put Big Show in that match.
Yeah.
You could have put, I mean, anybody in that match, realistically. Kane could have gone into that match. I mean, shit, Rey Mysterio could have been in that match. Actually, a funny story.
Right.
Rey Mysterio already had a match that night, not on the main pay-per-view, but he fought Shannon Moore, who would not debut again in the WWE for 3 more years in ECW.
Shane Moore. Oh my god. Poor Shane Moore. Shane Moore, who was with
Shannon.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. He was with Shane Helms and who is the other guy in 3 Count in WCW?
Oh, was he part of 3 Count?
Yes, Moore was.
You know, I always think of him. I always think of more mostly because if it's ECW time and his time with, like, you know, he's the fact that he's a friend of the Hardys.
Yeah.
No, you're right. He was in WCW as 3 Count. And he was with Matt.
He was part of 3 Count with Helms, and it's like, if you don't know that era, or if somehow you missed it, you're probably better off. It was a gimmick. If you thought that 3-man band was bad, 3 Count was a cruiserweight boy band gimmick in WCW. It was really, really...
Evan Karagias.
Yes. It was really terrible, and I feel bad for all 3 of them, because all 3 of them were better than that. Anyway, back to the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna completely forget Nash, because he's forgettable in it.
I think he has a strong moment here in a little bit.
We start out, the 3 that you need to build the excitement throughout a chamber, and so everyone's looking to Goldberg and wondering when that's going to happen. And Triple H has the belt, and of course he doesn't want to lose it, and he's in Evolution, which means that he's got the troops around him. So the first 3...
Now this is early.
Oh boy.
Evolution. So Batista's not part of it yet.
A really young Randy Orton with maybe 1/4 as many tattoos as he has now.
Batista debuts shortly after this, I believe.
Right. Pre-Batista 3-part Evolution. And both Orton and Triple H are in it, and you've got Ric Flair on the outside. But what I thought was interesting is, because, like I said, you want to keep the crowd excited while they're waiting to find out what happens with Goldberg. And so you've got Y2J, Shawn Michaels, and Randy Orton all being high-flying, cruiserweight moving daredevils, and you get a whole slew of great spots between the 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely did. And, you know, I love it. I love how Orton's in there. You start out with Jericho versus Michaels. Always going to have a great match. Then Orton gets introduced. He slowly starts getting in there and doing some work. Then Nash comes out. And right about the time that Nash comes out, or Triple H comes out, Shawn Michaels hits him straight with a super kick, and he's out of the fucking match.
Right.
And right after that, they take Nash out. And Nash causes some massive damage to some people. He does.
Yes.
He causes some massive damage throwing his little tantrum on his way out. And he fucks up Jericho, and he fucks up Orton, which was really, really cool. And in defense of Kevin Nash, I'm really not sure why WWE didn't do more with Kevin Nash. Again, a lot comes down to Triple H. I mean, they had already been feuding for months.
Right.
They even had a Hell in a Cell match. Kevin Nash and Triple H had a Hell in a Cell match against each other, which I need to go watch because I believe it's probably terrible. He had just lost all of his hair, supposedly in a hair versus hair match against Jericho. But it was actually because he shaved his head because he was the Russian in The Punisher.
Oh, wow.
He was the Russian in The Punisher.
I'm going to need to look this one up too.
And right after he gets eliminated, he puts the jackknife powerbomb on Jericho and Orton. And then he steps away to go into neck surgery. And WWE is just like, fuck that. We're done.
Yeah.
And I'm really not sure if that was a good idea. I feel like Kevin Nash still had some stuff that could have been interesting. I mean, he went on and did those 5-10 years, about 6 years, 8 years maybe with TNA. I mean, he was there in TNA for a while.
Yeah, almost as long as Angle.
A little long. They about had the same amount of time.
Yeah.
They about had the same amount of time, and then he returned to the WWE, and he's been gone again forever. I mean, he didn't really do much when he came back. He just had that shitty-ass angle during the CM Punk stuff.
Right.
And I don't really know why. I don't know why any of that happened. He did get that awesome moment for people like you and me when the NWO showed up in the Sting versus H match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But this really is his last real WWE match.
Definitely, for sure.
By the time he comes back, I mean, it's 8 years later. He's no longer Diesel. He's just Kevin Nash. He has, maybe two matches. One of them is a sledgehammer on a pole match.
Right.
It's not actually a sledgehammer on a pole. It's a sledgehammer hanging above the ring match, which still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, just whatever. Whatever.
It very much is. Yeah.
So, at this point, Goldberg enters the fucking ring and demolishes everyone.
Absolutely. Spear, jackknife. Spear, jackknife.
Yeah.
Like, he just obliterates. Oh, and, we've been building up this monstrous steel contraction that they're in, and he is throwing bodies against the steel like nobody's business. Like everyone else, for the most part, has been keeping the action in the ring. We have Orton flying from a turnbuckle. We have Shawn Michaels giving his stomp from the corner. We have Y2J springboarding off the ropes. No, Goldberg takes everyone outside and he throws them against the steel.
I specifically love the moment where he spears Jericho through the plexiglass.
Right.
It's one of those great fucking moments. I love the moment when Orton gets taken out because you have this moment of dread. If you're a H fan, you're like, oh god, what's Triple H got going for him? I don't know if you're supposed to be a Triple H fan at that point. And after everybody's gone, H is finally back up, and Nature Boy Ric Flair tries to lock the goddamn chamber back up. And Jim Ross pops in with an unbreakable plexiglass line.
Right.
Which, I mean, I'm sorry. No. It's a good thing because the reinforced cloth line for the straitjacket match between Booker T and Scott Steiner at Mayhem 2000 happened, so shit. You might as well be able to say the plexiglass is supposed to be unbreakable. I believe that more than the fucking cloth.
Well, I mean, okay. We were all surprised that the plexiglass broke when Jericho got speared.
It did.
But that had momentum behind it. Then it's down to the two of them, and Tripp won't leave his chamber.
Oh yeah, dude.
And Goldberg just stomps his way through. Now, what happens is
he punches and kicks his way through. It's really impressive.
Yes. What we have, though, is from the time that Goldberg busts through until the end of the match is only about 5 minutes of actual ring time for Triple H.
Not even. Actually, it's from Jericho to the last pin is actually only 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Wow.
I kind of feel like this is one of the weakest Elimination Chamber matches there is in a lot of ways.
It's definitely one of the weakest finishes.
And I hate to say that. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's only 19 minutes and 12 seconds. Triple H wins with the sledgehammer, and I love the ending moment with Evolution standing over Goldberg. And I really can't figure out what the hell they did with everything afterwards. I mean, yeah, Goldberg gets a title run. He does end up taking the belt off H. But then, like, everything just goes to shit, and it's a question of who did they really, like,
Right.
ruin here?
I mean, you said it was 3 minutes.
Like-
Well, Goldberg stomped in the chamber. By the time that Goldberg pulls Triple H out of there, his head is all bloody. And then he throws him against the steel cage 5 or 6 times, and then takes his face to the steel chain and rakes it back and forth. H is a bloody mess, right?
Yeah.
We get him
But not as bloody as Hulk Hogan in SummerSlam 2005.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm not. You're right.
So anyway, H gets tossed back into the ring, inside of the actual ring part, and we're set up for the spear, because we all know it's coming. And then Flair has given H the sledgehammer. Now, it's his weapon of choice. It's the weapon he's used more times than we can count, okay?
I will say this is a beautiful moment, by the way. The way he slides out of the way and brings it down on Goldberg's shoulder.
Yeah.
It's very unexpected.
It is unexpected, but I don't think it was the bump they really wanted to go for. I get a sense that what they really wanted to do was have the sledgehammer connect with Goldberg's head, and it was a miss, and they went with it anyway.
I mean, that's a strong possibility. Don't get me wrong.
A sledgehammer to the head would have been a much more believable finish, because, H gets his ass handed to him, does one move, and covers and wins.
And that's definitely how it ends. Like I said, I mean, I feel like the evolution is a strong part here. I kind of would have preferred to have seen Evolution versus Lesnar.
That would have been
Goldberg versus Angle by WrestleMania the next year. And if you had switched everything up like that, I don't think Goldberg ever would have left. Lesnar probably still leaves after his feud with Evolution. It's a more positive leaving, though. He's leaving because he's tired of the traveling.
Right.
So he ends up putting on a better match. Or even if he doesn't put on a better match, he's still going up against Evolution. And he's not just going up against any Evolution at that point. You gotta figure that's WrestleMania. And it is WrestleMania 24 to be exact. Right? Or not 24, sorry. WrestleMania of 2003 was going to be... I had this up earlier. Sorry, I'm terrible.
That's okay.
2004. It's WrestleMania 20. And what was H's match at WrestleMania 20? WrestleMania 20 was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Benoit. Now, this is when Benoit gets his first ever title run.
Right.
I get it.
The big night. The big night.
But you could have included Lesnar in that match. Or you could have done a final match of Lesnar versus, I don't know, anybody. Look, Eddie... Oh. Ironically enough, WrestleMania 20 is one of the most iconic WrestleManias ever because Benoit and Eddie Guerrero both become champions.
Here's something that I pulled up. Canadian Online Explorer. Talking about SummerSlam 2003.
Yeah.
They rated the Elimination Chamber match itself as an 8.5 out of 10. But they gave the ending 1 out of 10.
I mean, the exact ending of the match is the 1 out of 10. The ending of the show with Evolution over Goldberg is a strong point.
It's a strong point for how the show ended, how the match ended. I don't think that that's being harsh. It was an 8.5 overall, and then the ending was a 1 star.
I could see that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there was a way to make Lesnar not want to be tired of this. I mean, or Goldberg did not want to quit. Lesnar was done either way, I think. But you could have had Eddie Guerrero versus fucking Goldberg instead of Eddie versus Kurt Angle, and I think it would have been a good match still. Eddie would have pulled a good match. Eddie would have pulled a good match out of Goldberg. Goldberg could have been the face actually still, and it would have been okay.
Eddie was able to pull great matches out of unlikely opponents, so it definitely could have been great against Goldberg.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those weird things, man. But that was SummerSlam 2003. There wasn't a women's match. You're not allowed to be the women's advocate.
No women's match at all.
Poster was Naked Sable.
Yeah, and all she did was stand ringside until Steph came down.
And she had clothes on the pay-per-view, so it didn't even matter.
Right.
But moving on, we are going to wrap this baby up. We have SummerSlam happening this weekend. It's going to be SummerSlam 2017. I think it's going to be the 25th SummerSlam?
It's the second oldest pay-per-view.
Is it the 20th? I think it's the 25th to be exact.
Right? Isn't it the second oldest?
It is. Is it older than the Rumble? It's the second biggest. Oh, sorry. This is the 30th SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think it's honestly older than the Rumble.
I think you're right. It is. Look, let's talk about it a little bit going in because we have a scorecard thread coming up on Kayfabe Gimmicks on Facebook. That's where you can find us.
You need to go there.
You need to go ahead, go to our event, go ahead and sign up, fill out a scorecard. It should be up by tomorrow afternoon, Thursday morning.
We have live discussion during the event, and we keep it in the thread, and we keep score of who made their predictions on the matches, and the winner at the end of the event gets to choose the face of our promotion until the next pay-per-view. You get to choose what picture represents the entire brand of Kayfabe Gimmicks.
Which means you can get rid of Naked Shawn Michaels if you win.
Please, somebody win this and get rid of Naked Shawn Michaels.
So let's talk this out, right? We're going to talk this out real quick. I'm thinking it's a terrible pay-per-view right now on paper. On paper, I'm head over heels just confused with this. I'm going to start off with the interesting matches. Or non-singles matches. I can't even tell you these will be the best matches of the night, but they are going to be the most different matches of the night. First one is going to be Big Cass versus Big Show because Enzo Amore will be suspended above the ring in a shark cage. They did this already on NXT, and you can go buy the ring in Toys R Us right now. It comes with the shark cage. $20.
Why a shark cage?
I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
That's only slightly better than a sledgehammer suspended.
The only other interesting singles match you're going to have is Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles with the special guest referee of Shane McMahon.
But you see, here we are. It's not really a singles match because you've got a third element.
Thank God. Thank God, because when I get into the rest of this, you're going to be like, shoot me in the fucking face. After that, we got 2 tag matches, one for each show. You got the SmackDown tag team match, which is going to be the Usos versus the New Day, who are your current champions. After that, you got the Raw tag title match. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Because I guess the Hardys aren't in it now?
Huh.
Are the Hardys not at SummerSlam? This is fucking bullshit.
So. Well, we're kind of in this limbo because I think they just want to hold back for a bit because there's this whole deal about who applied for the trademark of the Hardys' old gimmick first.
I understand. Moving on. You got a fatal 4-way for the WWE Universal title. This is probably going to end the show. I'm not going to lie to you. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. There's a lot of talk about Lesnar's going to secretly hold the belt. There's a lot of talk the WWE was really hiding the finish, and this might just be their way of letting it leak, something leak, so they can actually not take the belt off Lesnar. They're going to take it off him, possibly. I think it's a strong choice in going against Lesnar this time.
It is.
Okay. Now is when hell begins, okay? Because this is a 1, 2, 3.
Money's still on Roman Reigns. I'm going on record with it. Money is on Roman Reigns.
Okay. But this is a 12-match pay-per-view. Starting at 5 o'clock on Sunday. You're going to start the pre-show at 5 o'clock. It's going to go all the way till 11 p.m., maybe later. Okay?
No, it's going to go until 10:50.
Calling it now.
Yeah.
At this point, you have Natalya versus Naomi. Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal. Which just became boring because we already know Baron Corbin tried to cash in and failed.
Right.
Neville versus Akira Tozawa, which we know is going to be on the pre-show, but Akira Tozawa is the champion, which is exciting to think of Titus Worldwide holding gold.
Yeah.
It's the best thing that's got going for it. John Cena versus Baron Corbin. Rusev versus Randy Orton. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. Which is only going to be interesting for 5 seconds because we know it's going to be Demon Balor, but Demon Balor is still boring. He just looks cool.
Right.
That is 7 matches. All singles matches. When you add in Big Cass versus Big Show. When you add in Kevin Owens versus AJ. That's 9 singles matches. 2 tag matches. 1 fatal 4-way. Only 2 of these singles matches are going to really be gimmick matches. It's going to be a long, boring night on paper.
On paper it is.
I don't know how to feel about this.
It really comes down to whether or not people can sell the story. Like, I don't worry about whether or not Bliss can sell hers.
Yeah, but I don't really care to see her versus Sasha either, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm already bored.
I can't help you there.
I mean, I'm just being honest with you. You know what I mean? Like,
I get
the whole Bailey getting injured thing kind of ruined that. Kind of fucked some stuff up. Yeah. It's going to be a long night Sunday, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
I think the Fatal 4-Way is probably going to be the most interesting match of the night.
I think it's definitely the high point of my entire watching this pay-per-view, but I'm still very upset about how this is going down. I'm upset about the Akira Tozawa already winning the title. I don't understand the point. I am upset about the Cruiserweight division in general. I'm upset that Corbin cashed in fucking 6 days before SummerSlam.
I'm upset too.
It would have been more interesting if Corbin won.
Yeah.
And Jinder locked in at SummerSlam and was like, well, I want my rematch, and turned it into a triple threat. That would have been more interesting.
That would have been a great triple.
If Jinder won back the belt in a triple threat and became a 2-time WWE champion, I would mark the fuck out. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Or this becomes Magic 18 for Cena. That would have been exciting.
But no. Shinsuke versus Jinder is going to be a regular match. I don't know how to feel about that. I have not hated Jinder.
And Cena versus Corbin has nothing that you can use as a prize, except for the fact that whether it's by a cheat, which it probably will be, or not, Corbin needs to win on Sunday now if he's going to have any chance of holding any relevance.
Well, so here's the weird thing, right? I would love to see Corbin just tear the fuck out of John Cena and John Cena disappears, but John Cena's going right to Raw. Free agent John Cena, Big Match John's going to Raw because he can do whatever the fuck he wants now.
Because he's John Cena.
So we're just kind of left in this place of like,
Yeah.
Well, find us on Facebook at Kayfabe Gimmicks. Find me on Twitter at Kayfabe Gimmicks.
Find me on Twitter at Real Ruff Lee. Find me on Instagram, on Ruff Lee Music. Find me on YouTube at Ruff Lee. Find me everywhere except for Snapchat.
'Cause you're ugly?
It's hard damn work, but I look pretty.
Oh yeah, you're right. You gave us makeup tips a couple weeks ago.
That's exactly right.
I'm proud of you too.
Because I got that kind of love for kayfabe. I'm willing to even give away my makeup secrets.
I understand. I mean, it was great. I really enjoyed watching this pay-per-view. I did. I had fun watching it. It's a fun pay-per-view.
What was your favorite match of SummerSlam 03?
Is it weird to say that it might actually have been A-Train versus Undertaker?
No, it's not weird to say it. It's really it was really a good pay-per-view, and that's not a bad thing to say. For myself, if you want to see how good Brock Lesnar really is, the Brock Lesnar that you see against Kurt Angle here is the one that I feel Paul Heyman should be talking about now.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I really feel like that was one of those strong things about it. I do. I loved it.
Angle versus Lesnar is probably my favorite match of this because not only are both of them delivering great match as far as technique, and there is a hell of a lot of great, clean, beautiful, flawless technique from two of the world's best that the ring will ever see. But you see absolutely top-notch storytelling, and probably the best storytelling of the pay-per-view is in that match. That's my vote.
I mean, I will tell it to you like this, at least no matter what, we are going to have a better final match than last year's SummerSlam of Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton this year. I will tell you that between the Brock Lesnar match at 03, the Undertaker match, and even, I mean, a lot of the matches, even the main event, I don't hate it. I don't. I had fun with it. It's an enjoyable match to watch. It's not as good as SummerSlam 05, though, with motherfucking Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan.
The supercell to end all supercells.
Exactly. I had a great time watching that match, man. I made my wife watch it again recently, actually. And really, that's it.
They should rename it. They shouldn't call it SummerSlam. They should have called it SuperSell 05.
Exactly. And my only real final points in this night is going to be once again, get feeling better, get well soon, get off your ass. Motherfucking goddamn it, Ric Flair, these bitches gotta keep riding Space Mountain because this is Kayfabe Gimmicks and we're riding that bitch to the moon. That sounded kind of gay. Mic drop out.